Something snapped in Madrid, and if you know Elena Rybakina, that almost never happens. She is one of the calmest players on tour, the kind of competitor who can win a huge match and barely change expression.
No shooting, no dramatic celebrations, no visible panic.
She plays with a coolness that makes pressure look ordinary. But in one of the most talked about moments of the Madrid Open, fans saw a completely different side of her. And it all started with one electronic line call. Rybakina came into this match facing a dangerous challenge against Zheng Qinwen, one of the most explosive players in the women's game. From the opening points, it was clear this would not be simple. Zheng took the first set, putting Rybakina under real pressure. Madrid's clay can create unpredictable momentum swings, and suddenly the usually controlled former Wimbledon champion was in a fight. Then came the moment everyone is still discussing. At 4-3 in the second set, Zheng delivered a serve that was called in by the electronic line calling system. Instantly, Rybakina looked stunned. On clay, players trust what they see because the court leaves evidence behind. Ball marks become part of the conversation. Unlike hard courts, where there is no visible imprint, clay gives players something physical to point at. And Rybakina believed the mark clearly showed the serve was out. She moved toward the chair umpire and challenged the decision. What made the scene so striking was not just the disagreement, but the emotion behind it. This was not the reserved Rybakina tennis fans are used to seeing. This was a player convinced something had gone badly wrong. The umpire explained that under the current system, she could not simply climb down and inspect the mark the traditional way. The electronic call had already spoken, and protocol required that decision to stand. In today's game, technology is often treated as the final authority. But Rybakina was not buying it. She argued that the mark on the clay did not match what the system showed on screen. She questioned how the technology could be trusted if the physical evidence seemed to tell a completely different story. Her frustration was intense, direct, and unusually public. For a player known for emotional discipline, it was one of the rarest reactions of the tournament. And that is why this moment mattered. This was not just a player angry after losing a point. It was one of the calmest athletes in tennis openly saying she did not trust the system. When someone normally quiet reaches that level of frustration, people listen. To her credit, Rybakina did something champions often do after chaos. She reset. Many players would carry that anger into the next games, rush points, or mentally drift away. Instead, she steadied herself. Her shot selection improved. Her movement sharpened. She found first serves at the right time. Bit by bit, she took control of the match. She won the second set 6-4. Then she kept going. By the third set, the emotional storm had turned into focus. Zheng remained dangerous, but Rybakina's weight of shot and experience started to show. She broke down rallies, handled pressure moments better, and closed the match 4-6, 6-4, 6-3. That comeback said a lot about her mentality. Even when deeply frustrated, she still found a way to win. That is the mark of elite players. They do not need perfect conditions. They survive messy moments and still produce results. But the bigger story may be what this reveals about electronic line calling on clay. Technology was introduced to reduce controversy, improve consistency, and remove human error. In many ways, it has helped modern tennis. On hard courts especially, electronic systems are now widely accepted. Players may dislike a call, but there is usually no visible contradiction. Clay is different. Clay courts create marks that players can see with their own eyes. That changes everything. If the system says in, but the mark looks out, human instinct naturally trusts the mark. It becomes difficult for players to ignore what appears obvious in front of them. That tension is now growing. Rybakina's incident immediately reminded many fans of what happened in Madrid before with Alexander Zverev. In that case, he also disputed an electronic call on clay and felt the system had malfunctioned. Frustrated, he famously took out his phone during the match and photographed the mark. It was one of the most bizarre and memorable protests in recent tennis history. He received a warning, but the image spread everywhere. The message was clear. Players were beginning to feel they needed their own evidence. There was also a similar scene involving Aryna Sabalenka in Stuttgart, where she questioned a call strongly enough that a photograph of the mark became part of the controversy. So now we have multiple elite players across multiple events, reacting in nearly the same way. That is not random. When isolated incidents happen once, people dismiss them. When they happen repeatedly with top players, it becomes a pattern worth examining. And this issue is bigger than whether one serve was in or out. Trust is everything in officiating. Players need to believe the system is fair, accurate, and transparent. If they lose trust, every close call becomes emotionally heavier. Every tight game becomes more volatile. Every disputed point risks turning into a scene. Rybakina said after the match that she would struggle to trust the system after what happened. That is a powerful statement because trust, once damaged, is hard to rebuild. Now, to be fair, electronic systems are still incredibly accurate overall. No technology is perfect, but they generally outperform human line judges in consistency. The challenge is perception. If players and fans cannot understand how a decision was reached, frustration grows quickly. That suggests tennis may need a better solution on clay specifically. Maybe clearer visual displays. Maybe improved review processes. Maybe a way for officials to consult both data and court marks in exceptional cases. Maybe faster explanations in stadiums so players know exactly what happened. Whatever the answer is, silence and rigidity may not be enough. Because clay is unique. It invites evidence onto the surface itself. As for Rybakina, there was another fascinating layer to this story. We often judge athletes only by visible emotion. If someone looks calm, we assume nothing affects them. But moments like this remind us that calm players feel everything too. They simply express it less often. When that armor cracks, it tells you how strongly they care. Rybakina did not lose control because she is unstable. She reacted because she is fiercely competitive. The same fire that helps her stay composed is also what made that point matter so much. And perhaps that rare flash of emotion will help fans understand her even better. She is not cold. She is controlled. She is not detached. She is disciplined. And when something crosses the line in her mind, she absolutely has a voice. Madrid gave us drama, controversy, and a comeback victory all in one afternoon. It also reopened one of tennis's most important debates. Can technology be trusted completely on clay, or does the surface demand something more? That conversation is not ending anytime soon. And if even Elena Rybakina is this frustrated, maybe the sport should pay attention. What do you think? Was Rybakina right to challenge the call? Or should players fully accept electronic decisions no matter what the mark shows? Let me know in the comments.